Hello， 各位观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看《老外看台湾》，我是郝毅博。台湾打完了这场关键的选举，无论是哪个候选人，在选后也都呼吁台湾的民众们要重新团结和凝聚起来。当选的蔡总统也告诉了大家，民主国家的人民一定要具备盖印章的技巧。
我还知道大家今天在投票的时候，投票盖章都特别小心，特别用力。甚至有些人的手还在发抖，生怕一不小心就变成了废票。这个就是民主的重量，就是自由的滋味。
那除了台湾以外，这一次选举一共有113家外国媒体来台报道。我们的同事 China Uncensored 制作团队也来台湾拍摄了，来听听他们的想法。What has your feeling been covering the elections these past few days in Taiwan?
It's been inspiring being in Taiwan to see the elections. I mean, in the U.S., voter turnout is low. People don't really have the passion about democracy. But coming here and seeing how much it means to people, it's incredible. Because many people here, they lived under martial law. They know what democracy means, and they're willing to go out and vote for it and be a part of the system. It's wonderful.
Everybody we talked to outside the polling stations yesterday, we asked them if Hong Kong influenced their vote. And the majority of people said that really made them think either about preserving the freedoms that Taiwan currently has, or they just explicitly said, we don't want to be the next Hong Kong.
The most memorable thing for me was yesterday we went to District 4 to look at the actual counting of the ballots. You know, it's like 在英文一票，韩国有一票, right? And that was amazing to see that you've got people counting the ballots, then you've got the public there monitoring this. And it's this amazing system where it keeps everyone really honest. And
how did it make you feel?
I felt moved to see just how much people are directly participating in that democracy.
It's been amazing, actually. I would say that seeing Taiwan's democracy gave me hope in democracy again in a way, because there are a lot of, it's more direct here, it's more grassroots in a way, because I live in New York City, so you know, a lot of the election stuff in the US, it happens in Iowa or it happens in New Hampshire. Nobody comes to New York City to go shake hands with people on the street, right? So seeing how dedicated the politicians were to trying to serve their constituents here, seeing people take voting so seriously, seeing people going to the, ballot counting to watch them count. It was literally every vote counts, and that's something you don't really feel as much in America. So that was an amazing experience.
What has your impression been on the way Taiwanese people view the foreigners coming here to cover the election?
Well, it's been very interesting. I went to a press conference for one of the political candidates, and then afterwards some of the local Taiwanese media started interviewing me, which was kind of a surprise. And then there was a big story about me having beef hot pot. But I think a lot of it is, just Taiwan has not gotten the recognition it deserves internationally. And so I think they want to get some recognition. And absolutely, Taiwan is one of the largest, most thriving democracies in Asia. It's a country that deserves this kind of international respect and recognition. And I think the elections really made the world take another look at Taiwan.
The Taiwanese media seem to be very interested in covering how much Western media are covering Taiwan. And in fact, they interviewed Chris on a couple different TV stations about his coverage. Chris had gone to an Inaku press conference. Then other media ended up doing a story about how Western media are covering the Taiwan election. So it got kind of meta, but I think it's really good to see how much America cares and other countries care, because to a degree, this election in Taiwan is a referendum on cross-strait relations, and other countries are increasingly realizing how important cross-strait relations are and how they need to support the Taiwan government because they're under constant threat.
How did you feel when you saw the result of yesterday's election?
Oh, it was amazing. Definitely there was a lot of nerves going on before the election because nobody really knew what was going to happen. Polling had been kind of blacked out 10 days before the election, I guess. And, people were looking at the rallies that Han Kuo-yu was having, and there was a lot of people very passionate about him. So it was really kind of everyone's who's going to win? Nobody knows. And then just, wow, a landslide. DPP took the Legislative Yuan. Tsai Ing-wen landslide victory. It was really wild. But I think Tsai Ing-wen made an interesting point in her victory speech that it didn't matter if she won or if Han Kuo-yu won. What mattered was that this was a victory for democracy.
Sure, but I think it really still mattered who won.
Well, she was being very gracious.
And would you say it's kind of like a historic election, considering, you know, what it was a choice between?
There was definitely parallels between this election and the recent elections in Hong Kong. In Taiwan and Hong Kong, what you saw is the population saying, we do not want the Chinese Communist Party. So that is a victory for freedom and democracy globally.
Do you also think that Taiwan is important as an example to Hong Kong, or is in some way influencing Hong Kong? If things go well in Taiwan, it's, you know, has a good effect in Hong Kong.
I think Hong Kong and Taiwan are both inspiring each other. Definitely the bravery of the Hong Kong protesters played a big part in this election as well. And I was at many of the rallies here, and there are Hong Kong protesters who came to see this kind of democracy in action. So I think they are also being inspired by the people of Taiwan. So I think both Hong Kong and Taiwan can really be a powerful force for bringing possibly democracy to mainland China.
也来听听看在台湾的老外们怎么看这次选举。很简单，我们只是想要知道你对这一次台湾总统大选的看法。
我就觉得很开心，因为上个月我们都一直在担心嘛，然后我朋友就是有一些甚至会觉得蛮忧郁的，因为他们太担心这个大选。然后我自己我上个月会出去做街推，因为我真的很关心就是台湾的这个大选嘛。所以对当然我是支持蔡英文，所以觉得很开心。对，
台湾人能够站起来，表达他们的看法等等，这是最重要的，就是民主的、安全的就好了，不用打架，对不对
？I'm very new to Taiwan. I moved here like at the beginning of January, but it's very nice to see that in a society with with a lot of ethnically Chinese people, you can have like so much debate and so much democracy going on, and it's very. I mean, it gives a lot of hope for China, for the mainland of China. I mean, it's not just Taiwan that can have democracy, but China can have democracy as well. And I'm quite happy about the results of the elections because then we can keep the communists out of Taiwan and hopefully one day out of China. But for now, yeah.
I think it's a good result for Taiwan. They're a lot better position re-electing her than electing someone as unhinged and brash as the KMT candidate. You think the KMT are going to have to like go back and reinvent themselves somewhat because that was not a good candidate they put up.
It's been amazing. It's amazing. Like I guess Taiwan would be considered like a new democracy, and you can. Yeah, so you can really see like how seriously people are taking it. I think we in the West could probably learn something from it.
Taiwan has a very strong sense of democracy, so I wasn't really worried. A lot of my friends were, but for them, you know...
Taiwanese friends?
Yes, yeah. But some foreign friends too. Some foreign friends were also worried about the results too. But the other thing too is that we sometimes forget that even though that we have different beliefs, you know, they're still people at the end of the day. And I found people that, you know, even though I know what they believe in, and I might disagree with them, that they were still nice people at the end of the day, you know. And sometimes we can forget about that.
In her speech, Tsai Ing-wen kind of said that. I don't know if you saw it last night, but she said words to that effect, like we got to come together, kind of.
Yeah, you know, like I was on the bus, and you know, people might deride, you know, Tsai supporters and Han fans and stuff like that. But I was on the bus. There was a guy all dolled up in Han fan clothing, and he had everything. But he said I was carrying a bunch of stuff. And he still gave me the seat. Like, he's still a normal person, right? People, we forget about that a lot, you know. Even if Han wins, you know, we have there's a democracy that needs to be maintained. The democracy doesn't end at the voting booth. It ends when we challenge our MPs.
好的，以上就是今天的节目，大家觉得如何？你们对台湾的选举或者未来的看法是什么？请在下面留言或者订阅我们的频道。这一次就到这里，我们下次再见。And that beef hot pot story did have educational value. I learned personally that you put it in there for 3 seconds only to get done. 10 seconds?
Sorry to correct you, but
In the story, it was 3, though.
then they got it wrong. No, the person told it's 10 seconds.
What's the difference this time since the last time?
The last time we were here, we weren't covering elections, so it's hard to make a direct comparison. But I will say that my favorite thing about coming here was actually meeting Ḥao Yibo from 老外看中国, 老外看台湾.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for coming to meet me. Awesome.